All right, why don't we start off with your word of the day? It's prime. What's prime right now?
So word of the day, prime for me, I'm looking at Prime Day as an indicator of what might be going on in the markets, right? So, Amazon has these Prime Days. It'll be interesting to me to use that as sort of the first indicator of the health of the U.S. consumer. Are they buying as much as was expected coming on the heels of the shutdown? And do we get some indication of how the U.S. consumer really feels?
All right, so we should be getting some data on Prime Day and some of the other retailers' sales that are happening in early October as the holiday season just starts earlier and earlier every year. But with that,
Absolutely.
I want to get to your pick. It's a consumer-facing name. Why don't you tell us why this is a good pick for right now? As we mentioned, the stock's pretty much flat this year.
Yeah, so I like Costco, right, for a number of reasons. And one of those reasons is sort of this softening that we're beginning to see in the job markets. As I take a look at things and have conversations with everyday people, there is a growing concern around the cost of things. And so people are looking to do some things that allow them to save some money. And in previous cycles where there's been a softening from an economic perspective, companies like Costco have done well. The other thing that we take a look at relative specifically to Costco is they've got a plus 90% renewal, from their memberships. And so that helps provide them with a bit of a cushion and a little tailwind from a profitability standpoint.
All right, so 2 points here. You're worried about the consumer, but your pick's a consumer-facing name. We were also looking at the valuation of Costco. It's pretty high, about 47 times forward earnings. If the consumer is under some pressure, how do they grow earnings without people having more money to spend?
When they don't have more money to spend, they look at ways to stretch those dollars, right? So if you said, hey, listen, I am concerned about things, people make shifts. One of the classic examples I've used through the years, if you drink beer and things get a little tight, you're probably not going to stop drinking beer. You may shift from Heineken to Budweiser to save dollars. And so utilizing things like a Costco allows you to say, hey, listen, this Kirkland brand is really good. Or, you know what, instead of just popping into the grocery store and buying, whatever that particular staple is, yeah, I may drive a little bit out of my way, but I'm going to go pick up my pasta, these other goods at a Costco in bulk to save on those dollars from a long-term perspective.
Okay. Any concerns about the government shutdown? We talked about this before. Moody's estimating for every week of the government shutdown, it's 0.1% negative impact on quarterly GDP. Obviously, we're in the second week right now.
Absolutely, there's some concern. Now, right now, it's not, in my opinion, a significant impact beyond the dynamic that people may be starting to tighten their belt some because of concern. At this point, nobody's missed a paycheck. A couple of days from now, that could be an entirely different story. I think you add on to that this discussion of potentially not giving back pay to those workers that are furloughed would be significantly impactful to a lot of people.
Okay.
So as this goes on, and if we have a scenario where workers don't get back pay, I think that's problematic. For some folk, there is the potential to replace some of their income. So you take, for example, some TSA folk, those kinds of things. In past cycles, they've gone out and gotten some other kind of jobs. But for some people, you can't simply go out and switch to another job on a dime.
All right. Lee, I'm sure you're getting some calls from some of your clients about AI-focused stocks. What are you telling them when it comes to the AI trade and putting new money to work? Are there certain names or certain parts that you're advising them not to put money to work in?
No, I'm not advising any of my clients not to put money to work. When I think about the AI trade, I think this is one of those dynamics, and some of your earlier guests said, hey, we're in the early innings. And so as long as we've got a long-term view, I'm saying, yes, let's continue to invest broadly in the market. Because AI, I think, will continue to impact things well out into the future.
Okay.
Are we fully valued now? Perhaps. But a lot of the things that we're seeing happen in the market as it relates to AI, some of the deals cut with AMD, I think it's great.